Morning, everybody. Welcome to our Christmas Eve practice session. Welcome to Kama, Luna, and Matt joining us on Zoom. And Philip's here in person today and is going to read one of his own Dharma glimpses for us. So over to you, Philip. Thank you. This is called Softening, Opening, Connecting, Losing, Repeat by somebody called Philip Woolbridge. On a recent stay at the temple, I became more aware how time spent there creates a softening and opening in me. I invariably arrive with my ego, self-absorption, and delusions prevalent, underpinned by my fears, jagged edges, and emotional wounds. But gradually over the hours and days there, these start to ease, and I can be nourished through allowing in some of the wisdom, compassion, and truth, brackets Dharma, that is all around. Where these come from, I'm not sure. Certainly the people there create some or a lot of it. Where do they create it from? Again, I'm not sure. Maybe the conditions are created for all of us to allow something of the infinite, the divine, or whatever you might call it, to flow through us and into each other. A few weeks later, I was sitting in my lounge having been to practice online. I'd lost that connection again, as I always do, and hardened back into surviving inner and outer worlds where ego, anxiety, suffering, craving and grasping seem inescapable, pervasive and pernicious. I suddenly became aware of and connected to the waves gently lapping onto the beach at Morecambe Bay through my front window. Despite the cold December weather, the sky was clear and blue, and there was enough sunlight to give the panoramic a radiant beauty and brilliance. I felt blessed. It was a moment of serenity and fullness, even if only fleetingly. It reminded me how that beauty and serenity, or perhaps something of the divine and infinite, is never far away. I briefly saw with a surprising clarity how it is always around us, within touching distance, and how I perhaps simply needed to create the conditions in me, the softening and opening, to allow it in, even though I will inevitably lose it time and time again. Maybe those conditions are also always changing. What works at one moment in time doesn't work the next. There is impermanence all around, I guess. For me, sometimes those conditions seem to be with others who have self-awareness and allowed the divine and infinite to flow through them. Sometimes it is when I can quieten my mind to seek it within myself. Other times it is when I'm out in nature and it is resonating the same frequency as within me. I start to trust that the infinite, the divine, the Dharma body is always there, within reach for those who want to find it, both inside and out. And realize that I am both in need and deserving of it, that I don't need to grasp at it. The humility can keep me grounded in the meantime. Gratitude to Beth for helping me see that one. That I can have the patience to wait for when the conditions are right, for it to flow into and through me, and hopefully onto others too. And that, although it will go, it will always come back again if I make room for it. Namo Amida Boo. Thank you. So now moving into meditation. An invitation to notice whatever is arising without pushing it away. So it's not an exercise in trying to quiet the mind or stop what's here from being here.
Noticing our reaction to the doorbell ringing. Any other thoughts that are around, just naming them. Oh, here's a thought about what I'm doing later. Here's some anxiety about this. The act of naming helping to create a sense of the curious observer and the thoughts and feelings that, as the Buddha said to his son, are not me, not mine. I am not that. This morning we'll chant the Tai Chi Chi mantra together. Tai Chi Chi or Mahastama Pratva is one of the attendant bodhisattvas of Amida. Lotus flowers bloom naturally at their feet wherever they walk. Their name means something like the one who has great strength or courage, and they're over in the corner next to Leon. And the words, so we're kind of invoking those qualities of courage, steadfastness, and a sort of naturalness, trusting that lotus flowers will appear without us having to do anything, really. And the words are Namo Tai Chi Chi Bosat. 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 Namo Tai shi chi bo sat. 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 Tai Shi Chi is also the bodhisattva that appeared to me on my wild therapy training to remind me or reassure me that I didn't have to do everything, be everything, help everybody. Just being myself was enough. So we'll run through the refuges and precepts, which are on the liturgy sheet. For refuge, I go to the Buddha,
For refuge I go to the Buddha,
the one who is awake and full of love.
the one who is awake and full of love.
For refuge, I go to the Dharma,
For refuge I go to the Dharma,
all that guides us to wisdom and compassion.
all that guides us to wisdom and compassion.
Namo Dhammaya.
Namo Dhammaya.
For refuge, I go to the Sangha,
For refuge I go to the Sangha,
those who live in the Buddha's light.
those who live in the Buddha's light.
Namo Sanghaya.
Namo Sanghaya.
With faith in the three jewels.
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may not take life.
I pray that I may not take life.
With faith in the three jewels.
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may not steal.
I pray that I may not steal.
With faith in the three jewels.
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may not fall into wrong speech.
I pray that I may not fall into wrong speech.
With faith in the three jewels.
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may not fall into sexual misconduct.
I pray that I may not fall into sexual misconduct.
With faith in the three jewels.
With faith in the three jewels,
I pray that I may avoid intoxication.
I pray that I may avoid intoxication.
No blame.
No blame,
Be kind.
even
Love everything.
love everything. Innumerable are sentient beings.
We vow to save them all.
Inexhaustible are deluded passions.
We vow to transform them all.
Immeasurable are the Dharma teachings.
We vow to master them all.
Infinite is the Buddha's will.
We vow to fulfill it completely. There's an old saying that perfection angers the gods because they're the only ones who are allowed to create anything that's perfect. But I'm not sure I would get away with using that as an excuse for continually getting the words wrong if I was in a Japanese training monastery. And certainly in the old days, if my trainees were doing that, I would have given them a hard time.
That was really late.
Yeah, thank you. No, maybe it's a bit. Enrique mentioned to me recently that he'd been thinking about doubt, the place that doubt has in the spiritual path. And maybe he'd be interested to have a chat with me sometime about that. And I haven't replied to him, but I was thinking about it this morning. And he didn't say any more about what his own thoughts were, but it reminded me great doubt and great faith are both seen as virtues, I think in Zen Buddhism particularly. And I don't know if this is a teaching I received or if it's something I sort of read in between the lines, but my sense is that they both end up being the same thing. Great doubt and great faith end up being the same thing, or even are the same thing ultimately. Why is that? Or how can that be true of something that sounds so completely opposite? Well, you know, as it's around Christmas time, maybe I'll use an example from the Bible. I'll throw in some Buddhist stuff as well. But what occurred to me as we were walking around the garden, it's actually the Easter story rather than the Christmas story, where Christ is sort of saying to God, why me? Why have you chosen me to do this? I'm not happy about this. And really doubting the path that's been laid out for him. But in that doubt, he was in conversation with God. And I think that's the key thing. It's not a position of great doubt, is not a position of apathy or putting things to one side or ignorance. It's a deep inquiry into the nature of what it means to be human and into the nature of the infinite. We keep pointing ourselves in that direction. This phrase that crops up in Shin circles, easy to practice but hard to believe, that we are accepted just as we are. That the Pure Land is right here, if we just wake up to it. To doubt that, to doubt it deeply, is to be in conversation with it, is to keep testing it, is to keep putting your foot slowly out and seeing, oh, is this ground steady? Is this going to hold me? It is a position of being alive. And great faith is the same. It is about having an open heart and an open hand and being alive to whatever is appearing, whatever is arising. It's not a position of blind faith or certainty. It's a kind of certainty in something, but it's a certainty that includes knowing that our understanding is always going to be limited to some degree, because we've been reborn in human bodies that are limited in how they can comprehend the infinite. As it says at the end of the Heart Sutra, going, going, always going beyond. You can't just go, oh yeah, I've got it now. There's always another horizon. The bear went over the mountain, the bear went over the mountain, the bear went over the mountain to see what he could see. And all that he could see was the other side of the mountain. And then I guess another mountain, and maybe some sky, but always putting one foot in front of the other. Maybe sometimes we find a mountain that we can just rest on for a while. Anyway, I just wanted to evoke these two things and really allow and give permission for great doubt. We're, you know, as Pure Land Buddhists, we often talk about faith and trust and confidence, but great doubt is exactly the same. It is being alive and interested and curious and just as important. No moment to be in.
With gratitude, we offer this incense to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas throughout space and time. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting our careful efforts, our wholehearted awareness, and the fruits of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home.
Blessed by Amitabha's light, may we care for all living things and the whole earth. Namo immediately. Doors will open. I just said half of that sentence in my head, sorry. I forgot to say it out loud.
These doors.
No, they will open, yeah. Just a reminder that this time next week on New Year's Eve, we'll have this as normal in the morning, but we're also doing practice from 11 till 12, and the doors will open from about 11:30.
Not 11:30, 10:30. We're starting at 11.
Yeah. Oh, 10:30. Yeah. Sorry. No, I mean, 10:30. Yeah, just a very small amount will be fine. Thank you. No more meter